Hey everyone, welcome to our panel discussion. My name is Ilya Gelfenbeyn. I'm the head of Google Assistant Investments Program here at Google. Prior to this, I was also the co-founder and CEO of API.ai, which is now known as Google Dialogflow. So at Google Assistant Investments, we invest in early stage startups, usually up to Series A stage, working on voice and conversational technologies. Our approach has been to find companies building new innovative experiences and tools, or helping introduce voice into new domains, and invest in time and money to help them grow and succeed. In addition to the money, we help with technical support, with connecting with various teams within Google, enrolling to early access programs, and so on. So far, we've invested in, I think, around 18 companies in about 2 years. Companies span a wide range of different verticals and use cases, including education, healthcare, hospitality, news, many others. We are very committed to supporting developers and the third-party ecosystem, and would love to continue growing the number of companies we invest in. So welcome to visit our website at g.co/assistant investments. And now let me introduce our wonderful panelists. So today we have here representatives of our portfolio companies. So Jefferson Valdares from Doppio Games, Sumit Bhatia from Ava Health, Vittorio Banfi from Bot Society, and Don White from Satisfy Labs. So now if you can each just share a bit of about your companies, and probably if you can, what was your experience working with Assistant Fund? Let's start with Jefferson.
Hey guys, yeah. So we're from Doppio. We're a company that makes voice games that you can play with your voice. We started about a couple of years ago, and then we make, but with our background is in games, so I've been making games for 20 years. Chris, my co-founder, has been making games for a long time as well. We worked at startups, but also big corporate companies like EA and Bandai Namco, big game publishers. But we got super excited about the power of voice as an interface. It's very accessible, it's actually really fun. It's a different emotion, like when you type something, when you say something. So we got super excited about the power of voice. And of course, Google is like one of the big players. We're quite happy to work with them on this. The assistance team in particular has been super helpful because we mentioned they're a big player. They're actually a really big company, so sometimes it's hard to know who to talk to, and they've been super helpful in kind of guiding us through, and also connecting us with the right people at the right time, so we don't have to spend a lot of time trying to pin people down. So it's been super helpful. I mean, obviously the investment side too, but I think the relationship and that connection inside the company is perhaps even more valuable. But it's been really great to work so far.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jefferson. So who's next? Let's go with Sumit.
Sure. Thanks so much for inviting me here today, Ilya. I really appreciate the opportunity. So Ava is the voice operating system for healthcare. We deploy smart speakers into hospitals, senior living communities, and private homes. And we use these devices to improve outcomes and increase satisfaction for patients, seniors, and really, very importantly, their caregivers. We're really excited that our platform is the first to be deployed at scale into hospitals across the country. One of the keys has been working with all of the other systems that you find powering the day-to-day operations in healthcare, and providing those vendors with a simple voice interface to their products. Regarding the Assistant Fund, we began working with them all the way back in 2018. It seems like a lifetime ago now. And we've greatly benefited from the partnership as well. Ava's had the opportunity to work with various teams inside of Google, thanks to help from the fund. But the fund has also helped us connect with external introductions, everything from hardware and software partners to potential customer introductions. So I guess stepping back, bigger picture, Google is clearly pushing the frontiers on voice. And so the close association with the fund has been incredibly valuable in of itself. I'm really excited about what the future holds, and look forward to continuing to build on this successful relationship.
Great, thank you. And can you give a couple of examples of voice requests that your system can process?
Yeah, so I think what's really interesting is, and I'll talk about it a little bit later, but everything from a doctor or nurse using the device to request additional assistance, or ultimately we want to aid in their day-to-day, so helping them pull up information, whether it be lab information or an X-ray as an example to share with the patient, to a patient using it to request for assistance and having that request routed to the most appropriate person. That's really a key thing. Everyone's so busy in healthcare, and so just the opportunity to get the right request to the right person is incredibly valuable.
Great, awesome. Vittorio.
Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. I'm Vittorio. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Bot Society. Bot Society is a design tool for conversational interfaces. So if you're a creative, say a designer, you really want to have the freedom to define and imagine whatever interaction you want. And you can do that on Bot Society. And we've been very fortunate of working with Ilya from the start of the fund. I think we were in the very first batch. And our experience has been amazing. I agree with what Jefferson and Samit said about being able to work with the right Google teams and being able to work with external teams. I think for a founder that is in this space, it's a no-brainer. Also because Ilya is very knowledgeable on the space. He really understands it. Like, he built Dialogflow, all right? So he knows what he's talking about. So it's great to have an investor who knows what you're doing and has this kind of breadth. So I think for a founder, it's a no-brainer.
Cool. Thanks for the kind words. And finally, Donny.
Thank you very much. Hail from New York. So at the epicenter of much that's going on. For the record, I've already had COVID and I'm through it. So, thanks to all the hard workers out there making that possible. Satisfy Labs, we're an AI-powered knowledge management platform. We index hundreds of thousands of answers to popular questions about going to live events or physical locations. So think about baseball stadiums, zoos, and live music centers, all places right now that are somewhat bare. I think the advantage that we have in the industry is coming from when COVID was introduced and our system identified it in February, coming to even how the places were trying to handle it early on, and to now preparing for the reopen of the economy. We're really well positioned to supply a lot of data to people in different industries. Google Assistant's been nothing short of a blessing for us. One, it validates that a lot of people asked us, why doesn't Google just do this? And we said, well, we'd like to help them. And so it was kind of an opportunity for us to really learn about the Google Assistant ecosystem, how our product and our vision fit into Google's vision. And working with the Assistant team, we're launching all Google Assistants for Major League Baseball for the coming season that is looking good at this point. And so that the at-home fan will have a deeper level of knowledge than they would just by searching various websites. Our data sources are the teams or the venues or the locations. So it's assisting the voice products with new natural language answers right from the sources, which I think is part of the Google vision and aligns much with our vision.
Great. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining this panel today. So Jefferson, in your view, what is the impact of voice-controlled games to the broader entertainment industry? Like, how big is this impact?
Yeah, I really believe. The reason why I got excited about this space. There's two reasons. First is the kind of, if you just look at business, there's a lot. These devices are very accessible. You can use them on your phone. You can use like a cheap speaker, and it's not like a VR headset that you gotta buy for $1,000 and then it's hard to install and you never touch it again. It's a very accessible piece of technology. So I think by nature a lot of people use it. Also, voice is like a super easy again to use interface, right? If you think from the interface revolution, people used to learn on a graphics, file, menu, new, whatever. With voice, they just say what they want. It's completely turns the problem upside down. And so I think, it's a lot more for people who maybe they are scared of getting a gaming controller, or, they're a little bit worried about how complex games are. So voice can be a very big door. So that's, that power is the thing that got us excited. and also the fact that, if you look at the history, there's been a few gaming experiences, but nobody really explored this. So I think there is the opportunity to make, the Angry Birds of voice, right? Make something that is so different that is gonna last for like 10, 20 years, 40. I mean, this week was the 40th anniversary of Pac-Man. So gaming IPs can live a long time, and I think like if we do our jobs right, then we can voice can help bring that kind of impact as well.
Got it. And I believe COVID like impacted your like day-to-day activities as well. So I believe like lots of people, like majority of people probably sit at home now, maybe played more. Like how do you see that? And probably also, are there any like strategic changes your team has had to make to due to the COVID-19 impact?
Yeah, we definitely saw like more usage and more revenue like in the last couple of months, and I think it's like I said, like people are at home, so they need things to do, and games happen to be one of those things that it's just in human nature, so people will do it. I think that I think there's been a bit of discovery that assistants can do this thing, because I think if you ask like a couple of years ago, people wouldn't even think about playing a game there, but the more they get comfortable with the technology, the more they try to explore it for entertainment. So I think there's definitely an element of that. Something you can do with your family, something you can do just like yourself. Like it's therapeutic as well when you're locked at home. Business-wise, yeah, we obviously had to adjust to like remote. We kind of were ready, because we had everybody in our teams had laptops. When people join our team, we give them one assistant, even if they already have one. But many people didn't have one, so we gave them just so they get used to the concept of having one at home and playing with it. So we were kind of like ready to go into like full remote mode. One of like my co-founder is remote, so we already had all the processes like Jira and all those other things like ready. So it was kind of smooth transition from that point of view. We just had to really pay attention, like do we need to adjust the timings, let people play a little bit more, because there's more. So we actually went and looked at the behavior and to see if we needed to tweak some stuff. But mostly it was kind of easy for us. We were definitely on the positive spectrum of like impact, I would think.
Right, got it. Yeah, so almost no negative impact then for your industry.
Yeah.
Okay, so and like speaking of impacted industries, I think healthcare has been experiencing tremendous demand in recent days. So Sumit, like what's your view on short and probably longer term changes in healthcare and conversational assistance in healthcare?
Yeah, so in healthcare, we're already seeing millions of people interact with conversational AI on a daily basis. They're using chatbots to do things like check symptoms and get initial guidance, and if necessary, even schedule a telehealth visit with a physician. All in that same session. So this is all coming at a crucial time, because the industry is facing a shortage in the next few years in terms of millions of nurses, physicians, and caregivers with with just the aging population. And so without the advances we've already made, I think in conversational AI, like the crisis could potentially be worse. But we actually believe that smart speakers have a really significant role to play, and now and in the future. And that extends both to the home, but also the enterprise. Voice assistants, as an example, next to a hospital bed, enable patients to and clinicians to communicate hands-free throughout the building, and even outside to like friends and family. So this is particularly helpful in the age of COVID. If you think about it really allows clinicians to reduce their own exposure and conserve PPE, but very importantly, lets patients connect to their loved ones hands-free as well. So voice is really catalyzing like other long-term trends in healthcare. We talked about a little bit earlier, assistive technology for nurses and doctors, routing of patient requests intelligently, and even things like control of other IoT devices like thermostats, lighting, and TV. Everyone at this virtual conference is really familiar with the role that voice plays in the smart home. We can all feel good that in enterprise settings like hospitals and senior living communities, that conversational assistance is starting to give that same comfort level and convenience level to people when they're really at their most vulnerable.
Got it. Got it. So can you tell that, like, business-wise, again, like, impact of the COVID is more positive on your side?
Yeah, well, we found ourselves just really engaging with, again, both hospitals and senior living communities. One example in particular on the senior living side, what we're seeing is, unfortunately, so we're all, sheltering in place or have been at various times during this crisis. And you're seeing that this COVID obviously has a grave impact on seniors. And so they're being asked to, even if they moved into, a senior living organization for the fact for that aspect of community, they're actually not able to engage, and they're having to stay sheltered in their rooms. So we've actually seen kind of an increase in helping those types of organizations and providing them with the smart speaker devices to allow them to engage, with their family and friends. Again, a big concern in general is social isolation, and we can all be affected by it. So this is really great. It's really great to be able to use the technology to engage with seniors in these environments.
Oh, great, great. Okay, so let's turn to Vittorio. So where do you see demand for voice agents at the present time? Like, has it changed? Is it like still popular to build conversational experiences, like, or new conversational experiences? I think you have like a very great insight because you are providing lots of these developers with the tools to design experiences.
Yeah, I think it's definitely popular. What we're seeing is a shift between the idea that you can just take an existing use case from, say, the website and just replicate that experience on voice as it is without adjusting or changing the use case or the interaction to play on the strength on the interface. And so what we've seen is some of the, I would say, smartest developer came up with, from the start, with a compelling use case for the voice environment and experience, and those projects are picking up, and they keep working on that, and they're expanding them a lot, and others had to kind of change course. And what we feel from the bot society point of view is, look, have you ever seen websites developed in 1996? Like, the design was very bad, and this is the start of a new type of interface. And so we know that the design will need to get better, and that's where we're excited about, helping the design community improve the interaction modalities in a way that it's faster and it's easier to do for a designer.
Got it. And so, speaking of like your enterprise clients, right? So building these conversational experiences, was it like, prioritized, deprioritized in the times of COVID? Like, how do they look at it?
So I think we've seen the biggest shift is between verticals. So of course, the verticals that were more negatively impacted kind of slow down, like transportation. But new verticals emerged that maybe weren't as interested before, and now they're really interested, like retail. So overall, what we're seeing is that there is more of a need for this type of interfaces from enterprise companies, and this need is shifting in the landscape. At Bot Society, you can design anything, so we cover all the use cases. So we can also see shifts between, say, transportation and, as Samit was saying, healthcare, or retail, or these other verticals which are impacted positively, but they're still experiencing demand spike, which is still, it's a happy problem, but it's still a problem.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Thank you. Doni, so as your current focus is on building like this AI-ready platform for entertainment and sports, how do you see industries developing, and what could be the role of voice there?
Yeah, you don't usually write in your business plan with 100% of your customers shutting down the same day. It's pretty rare. One investor asked me why I hadn't, and it wasn't a positive outcome. Where we see it now is the exciting time is actually as states are starting to reopen, there are these extremely detailed reopen plans. So your next visit to a concert, or the NFL has announced that they're expecting fans at stadiums this year publicly. What must that look like? Contactless delivery. If you go to a stadium, do you think a hot dog is going to be passed down the row to you in the future? And the answer is no, that won't be the case your next visit to a stadium. What does entry look like? Will there be temperature checks, different gate waitings of queues and things? So we're getting these long lists of items because every physical experience you've ever had will now be changed, at least in the near future. So it's really opportunistic to be part of that process, but it's really unfortunate the wide range of solutions, like because there's so much information and misinformation being sent out through the news and the media that people are just kind of chasing each other. And so one advantage I think we have is being able to build a community, as a lot of people ask us, well, what are they doing? And what are their answers to these questions? And what do their policies look like? So by being in the knowledge management side of it, although conversational AI is our experience, it's really about the data underlying it that makes our company valuable. Voice is huge because we've been talking to a lot of customers about, well, next time you're in the car driving to a tourism location or a game or an event, you might have forgotten something or need to know something on your way. And so how could Google Assistant play a part in your fan journey, your customer journey going forward? We've prioritized voice much sooner this year. We were going to roll it out more towards the end of the year. And now we're rolling out with as many teams as we can the next 3 months, because we think this is where fans are going to go to get their content.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And I think like a couple of months ago, you mentioned that you started to build COVID-19 related knowledge bases and provide it to your clients. Can you tell a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so we started collecting data because of our community network. One question from a few different locations hit an alert, and we said, oh, this is the thing. So we released within a couple of days before the NBA even shut down, hey, listen, COVID's a thing, let's get answers prepared. And then we not only gave it to our clients, we created a more simple version for anyone in the industry that wanted to put it on their website just to get information out to their customers. The lack of information is the hardest part about this. It's having been a survivor, my wife also had it, so we've been acutely impacted by it. It is hard to differentiate what's real and not real. But at least if our customers, the sources of places that you're going to be going, hopefully when you feel safe in the near future, they at least can now distribute information to make you feel safe about coming to visit their locations.
Got it. Interesting. Have any of you seen any other like interesting trends during these times that are related to voice and conversational experiences? Like, do you see any other industries that like benefit a lot from it, or vice versa?
I mean, one of the things, I'm based in Portugal. Here, there's like a group of tech companies that got together during the COVID to kind of try to generate ideas and apps and different things to kind of help. And in the beginning, I was kind of talking to them, and I think there's like a lot of people saying, yeah, I mean, voice, like, in a time where everybody's like scared of where they're going to be touching, like there's something nice about voice during those times. So I think will help at least get more understanding. So I think one of the things that the last couple of months did is like accelerate a lot of things that were happening anyway, but they were just like super accelerated because like we just had to deal with it. So like work from home, video conferencing, like there's a lot of things that like really got sped up, and I think voice was one of them, because I think it does have that nice aspect of non-contact that we kind of have to. It's very much like top of our minds right now, right?
If I can add something, another interesting trend we've seen is that companies start to think about voice as a more complete experience. So that spans across different devices. It may be when you call on the phone, but it may be on the Google Assistant, and they're thinking about this project as one or as part of the same team. And we think that's really exciting, because that's where we also see the assistant going, and the whole industry where the conversational agent does not live only on one device or in one context, but it's actually a relationship that you have with a company that spans across different situations. So we're very excited about that in being able to empower teams in building this kind of like multimodal experiences. And the old COVID situation kind of, as Jefferson was saying, accelerated this. So if you have a physical location, like Don was saying, the experience is going to be different. And so the interest for this type of interfaces is way higher right now, especially if you have a physical location, which is something I didn't expect. But this is what we're seeing.
Major interesting thing is the contactless commerce. So the concept that you'll be paying ahead or before. I had a friend just go to a restaurant for the first time in his state, and he said, the menu was throwaway and the waiter stood 6 feet from me, but at the end of the day, they gave me an iPad to tap in my information on that had fingerprints and was filthy and disgusting. So why do all this if you're going to end at that? Voice commerce, I think, is a huge opportunity. We've integrated some ticketing systems for the comeback of ticketing. We can also do food as well, so you could confirm your order via voice instead of having to touch anything. So I think the voice will be the safest commerce tool ahead of probably using your own phone, even, because even that has some risk to it, as we all know if you've read the study of how dirty your phones are. But I think voice commerce for us and for all industries are going to become a huge thing in the next 3 months.
Okay.
I don't know if has anybody else started washing their phones. I've literally started like soap and water on my phone. I don't know how long it'll last, but we'll see.
I definitely go to shower with my phone now. So.
Great, thank you. So these were like really interesting startup ideas. So I hope we will be able to invest in some of these new startups working on voice commerce and probably washing phones. Okay, and thanks everyone for these great insights. I think this is the end of our panel. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.